If you are not already health coaching, either solo or along with the fitness you're providing, I really suggest you start. Look, if you made it this far, I know you're interested. The two major areas to focus on for fitness in midlife are number one, exercise. Hello, I'm thinking you knew that. The second is every hour outside of exercise. Where do we have the most to gain? Obviously, right? The 23 or 23 and a half hours that you're not exercising, a client has the most opportunity for success or failure. So in the exercise itself, things that you've got to consider, right? The type of exercise and the time that it's done, the length of the exercise session, the intensity of the exercise, the sequence of exercises, the frequency of the exercise, the rest between exercise. And that is both in a session and during the week, say a strength to a strength or a hit to a hit or a strength to a hit, right? Then the purpose of every exercise within a session. What's the purpose of this strength training exercise you're doing? And the purpose of every session. Some sessions are intended to be hard, high intensity, push, reach. Some should be recovery. Each of these things has to be related to a client's endocrine system, their muscle system or musculoskeletal system, status, and the conditions or injury history that they've got. That's a lot going on. Outside of exercise, nutrition that contributes to the preparation for their exercise, nutrition that contributes to recovery from exercise. And did you know this? You put too many antioxidants in right after exercise, you halt your body's ability to turn up its own recovery and that resilience that will occur. Inflammation from exercise should happen. It needs to take its toll and have its course. Outside of exercise, also hydration for the same, for preparing, for recovering, but also within, depending, course correcting to optimize effects of exercise on a system. A body under stress can't exercise hard and get results, and eventually more intense exercise will be a part of muscle and bone success. So we've got to figure out, where is she now? What will help her get fit now? But also, how will the fitness she gets now then allow us a better foundation so we can increase that? And there is, of course, sleep, and there's stress, lifestyle habits that help a woman prepare better for the foundation and adjust the exercise for it. So there's a little to unpack. Would you agree in this episode? In fact, that would be a huge undertaking. It'd be an overwhelming amount of information for a single episode. We could be unpacking this for months, if not all year. And that is, in fact, more like a course, like the Flipping 50 Menopause Specialist course, where you really are understanding each and every one of those. We're going to focus here in this episode on really a sliver of that. The one biggest thing women want in midlife and they find elusive, a flat belly. Yeah, right? Aren't you asked most often, how do I get rid of this? Or you're asked, what core exercises? Can I do core every day? Those questions are just like, woof, top of the list. So it's so tied to metabolism, the flat belly thing. So we'll focus on this little slice of information so you can start using it with clients tomorrow. So you can always, hopefully always, get to something greater. But we want to make sure we're getting this piece, because you've got to attract them, give them something they want for a quick fix before we can get them to take the next step and gain that trust. So the number one key to helping clients get a flat belly in midlife is, but first, I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to She Means Fitness Business. It's a division of my business, Voice for Fitness. And here at Voice for Fitness, we all agree and know that you want to be an inspirational example to other midlife women yourself. And to do that, you need a profitable health and fitness business. And I know some of you think, well, I need to have this figured out for myself too, right? And, here's the thing. Yes, you do. And no, you don't. And yes, you do. And you may figure it out and feel like, okay, I'm ready. And then you're going to go through a different phase. You may feel like I'm postmenopause. What other phase is there? But, many women, it's 2 years after menopause, it's 5 years after, and things change for them still. And it may be related to you doing or not doing HRT. It may have nothing to do with that. But let's face it, the body is, there's homeostasis and then there's not. The body still is going to continue to change. So, you may go through other transitions. You may try something that does not work and backfires on you. So in my own experience, I thought, I can do this. I can do endurance events because I really love endurance and I wanted to come back to it. And, I really got slapped on the hand and learned I didn't. But, we're here to teach things, and sometimes the universe gives you reasons and things to learn a little deeper on a personal level so that you can teach them even better. And voila, me too. So if you want some help growing your business, this will help you work with clients, have some ideas. But I want you to realize that there's a gap. So a lot of times, fitness instructors and trainers feel like, I've got the science, I've gone to a university, I've got a degree, I've got this. I'm an intelligent woman, and you are. I agree with all of those things if they're true for you. However, what we're doing is then listening to consumer-based content and adapting that in a way that, okay, now we feel we know it for ourselves, and we're turning that into maybe coaching tips and points. And I'm not sure that any expert who's doing that is actually worth their full capacity. You really need to know it, own it, have done the research or studied research-based content and understand the nuances of not just what, but how and why. And if you're just superficially taking in information, first of all, I applaud you for doing that, but be sure that you know deeply yourself. Here's what I would do to pivot. So there is okay, I can take these first steps and I can kind of paint by number, right? Or I can take a blank canvas when I have a new client and know exactly when I sit down with them what we need to look at first with them and what would be second and what's the criteria before moving to from 1 to 2. That is really a confident expert. I think that's what we all want for ourselves, to immediately be able to say, okay, based on what you're telling me, here's what I say is first. This is what we need to do. Or here are follow-up questions I'm going to give you. I want to give you that, and we do that. If you're interested, I'm going to put a link to the Flipping 50 Menopause Fitness Specialist course. And the follow-up to that is we bring you in for the marketing and to help you learn how to package, to price, to get your services really dialed in so somebody wants them and wants you. So if you want a little help building your business, I'm going to suggest that you come to the show notes today and download this scorecard. It's for health and fitness pros, designed based on what took me from 0 to 6-figure months. And yes, you can do that too. All right, let's dive into this. The number one key to helping clients get a flat belly in midlife is all related to controlling blood sugar levels. Look, they're going to come to you and say, look, I'm bloated and I, want a flat belly, or I've got belly fat. And you have to ask these questions. Is it weak muscles? Right? Because that's when we want an exercise. And, yes, doing a little tightening up, doing some core exercise may eliminate some bloat very temporarily. There are certain rotational poses in yoga that will help relieve bloat temporarily. But if we didn't fix the underlying root cause, it's not going to fix it permanently. They're going to be bloated again tomorrow or in 2 hours, depending, right? But it's related to blood sugar levels, especially the fat, and potentially, their gut needs a little overhaul. That's for another day. We're going to focus on blood sugar levels today. So overall reduction in blood sugar is what we're talking about. And number 2, a reduction of the spikes, either the number of those spikes or the height of those spikes. So we all have a range. And in very, very general, yours slightly different. Every client of yours slightly different than the next person. But in general, when you wake up in the morning and you're in an overnight fasted state, somewhere around 85 is where blood sugar levels generally rise. And if they're much lower than that, I mean, some people are coming in at maybe 70. That may or may not be a problem if it's where they ride. When we're talking about spikes like after a meal, a lot of experts on blood sugar levels and on getting over insulin resistance like to see those spikes not go above 140. Now we've got a lot of people getting to 150, 155, 160, 170. And those are things probably that have a lot to do with these combination of things like overall stress, caffeine, sleepless night. Again, that comes back to stress, maybe high intensity exercise. Now, sometimes that's normal and to be expected. Blood sugar levels will go high because you're kind of engaging that blood sugar to be used as fuel. So if it's temporary, comes immediately back down, it's okay. And again, if the recovery from it is good, I mean, that's one sign, but you don't want it to spike in the first place. That's inflammation. So that's causing problems, not just now for belly fat, but for later in health risks, right? Inflammation is the root of almost all disease. So let's talk about these 5 things that will help support blood sugar levels, and exercise is related to them, but it is not the first one. Number 1, monitor exercise effects on your client. So you need to know where they're riding, and it's going to have to do with a lot of the other things that are kind of in their bag of tricks, their status right now, but monitor exercise effects on your client. And if you can do this with a continuous blood glucose monitor, you should. And I'm going to put a link to the blood glucose monitor that I use. So number 1, it would behoove you to get one. When you get it, if you use my link, you actually can share your data with me. And, I will tell you this, we do a roundup, and we do 4 different months throughout the year when we're in a group, we're in a WhatsApp group. People can share what's going on with them, what's their results, how well are they doing, what questions do they have about it, and I can go in, and if, we have 50 or 100 people in there, it makes it a little difficult to see every one of them and grab each individual's test, but we can do it collectively because we take them through. Here's what we're going to do in week 1. Everybody, this is your assignment. And week 2, here's what you're going to do. Week 3, obviously, I need those people to co-collaborate with me, but that's ultimately the goal. We don't want to take them through, and you especially, I don't want to take you through and have you be codependent on me. I want you to understand, here's what this is like for myself. So I'm going to share that with you. You buy a membership for a year, and then you buy the monitors each when you want them. So you get a monitor. It's good for 14 days. I usually buy 2 at a time. So I do a month myself. I'm wearing the second one for this month right now. I probably won't put another one on until I might do it in January because we're doing a group then. It's good for me to have one on and do it while I'm working with other people as well. But I will definitely, somewhere like March or April, we'll do it again. We'll do it again, in the summer months. So think about that. And you've got that capacity all year, but you also could turn around and use that with your clients. Super cool, right? So I will put the link to that in the show notes. Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to go through this. And what I want you to do is pay attention to, how about you, right? So dear fitness professional who sometimes are teaching on a schedule that is not optimal for you, but is optimal for clients, I want you to start realizing you run your own business, or you can. Right? So think about exercise. Walking and strength training are best when it comes to blood glucose levels. The exercise that causes more cortisol than is good is moderate level, where after about 45 minutes, blood sugars tend to increase and stay there. And that's related to cortisol, because if cortisol goes up, blood sugar usually goes up, and they stay there, causing the body to store fat. So you can't both store and burn fat. So if somebody wants to lose fat from their belly, well, guess what? We've got to fix first the start of blood sugar and what is causing it. So women can make a mess of even walking and strength training unintentionally. Okay. More is better mentality will kill the positive results that they could be getting. Walking after meals for about 10 minutes is most beneficial, which is such a surprise. I mean, most women say, going for a brisk walk for 45 minutes. I'm getting 4 miles in a day. Well, that's probably an hour, but, and so it's not true. What's the goal of your walking? And so if you want to work on endurance, then yes, going for 30 or 45 minutes is probably better. But if your goal is to decrease belly fat and improve blood sugar so that you can do that, it's walking immediately after meals. So if you eat a meal, naturally blood sugar level goes up, insulin goes up. And the more carbs or the more poorly that you make choices, the higher blood sugar level is going to go up. Or if you've had poor sleep or you've got lots of stress, obviously it's going to go up to a greater extent. These are things you've got to consider. When you're working one-on-one with clients, each of them is going to be slightly different, but you've got to take a good look at what else is happening for them. So let's look at brisk walking. And brisk walking does trump slow walking when it comes to positive impact on blood sugar levels. Strength training that increases lean muscle tissue makes every other movement or those walks, exercise you do on a daily basis, support blood sugar control even more. So the more muscle you have, you're moving this sponge for blood sugar, right? So if you go for a walk, you're not very fit, you're deconditioned, it's going to help your blood sugar levels, yes. But if you start lifting weights, now not only lifting weights and round the clock, but when you move, throughout the day, just up and down daily chores, it improves the blood sugar impact of all those movements. All right, so that was one. Number 2 is change the order of the foods that your clients are eating. And this is going to feel like so much less pressure on them. I mean, don't they all feel like I got to turn my world upside down, stop eating certain foods? What if you don't even go there yet? Just say, hey, let's just take your normal diet. What would you have for breakfast? Okay, we would have this, this, and this. And you may be like, oh my God, I want them to change this so badly, right? And you can't maybe go there yet. Maybe you offer just one benign suggestion if there's only carbohydrates there, because we can't change the order of or sequence of the foods they eat if they're only eating from one macronutrient. So obviously we're hoping carbs and fat and protein all occur at a meal. But what you're going to do is change the sequence of foods so that you put the protein and the veggies first, the non-starchy things, and carbs last. That can change the impact of glucose spikes post-meal by 75%. So huge. And number 3, start the day and start each meal, if possible, with apple cider vinegar. So 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in a glass of water is proven to significantly reduce blood sugar spikes that occur after meals. So you can also, so I've got clients who ask this all the time, you can also find apple cider vinegar gummies or just pills, capsules that you can take. Because I've got some saying I can't stomach that, or I've got GERD, and so there's no way I could do that. Totally okay. I also find personally that at first I was just really turned off by the idea of doing that. However, it grows on you. I think it is possible to look at, all right, I can do something like this, and the taste is not all that bad. So just start, have them keep an open mind. All right, there's 2 more ways. Hang in there. You're doing great. So number 4, this next thing is just get them to increase their movement during the day. So if you've got somebody who's got a Fitbit on, or they're already kind of into tracking their steps, suggest they use that. I mean, almost all phones now will track their activity level. Or they've got a watch that's probably more intelligent than me. It takes me a long time to figure out my new watches and my new phones. This is not good on a day when I'm transferring data to a new phone, but you want them to increase the movement through the day, even a few minutes of standing, pacing while you're on a telephone call, for instance, sitting on a desk bike. I loved one. Somebody sent it to me. I was like, I'll show it, but I actually love it. I'm more alert as well. But doing that a few times, say in the morning, if you can do something at the end of every hour or halfway through the morning, even at an hour and a half, you're just 10 or 15 minutes and you're on it, moving barely to break up sedentary time. This, done throughout the day, decreases the blood sugar spikes post meals by 17%, even when the activity didn't occur near the meal. Get it? So keeping this moving, not allowing your body to get sedentary. And know this, you're going to get pushback from people. You too may be at a regular job, during the day, and maybe this is a side hustle that you're doing. But I want to tell you, we have lots of opportunities. We're talking, if you're sitting right now while you're listening to it, I hope you're not. I hope you're going for a walk or doing something else. But I'm sitting, obviously, recording, but you swing your leg. Those friends you had in high school drove everybody crazy. Be like, stop moving your leg, but they're always swinging the leg. They were probably also among those most lean. And now it helps, like all the little shivering, jittering, taking a cold shower even, or last few seconds taking a cold shower, turning that brown fat on. So good. All right. But movement during the day really matters. Number 5, if you know that you're going to eat something that will spike your blood sugar. So for me, I know because I've worn a continuous blood glucose monitor for just a very long time. I know exactly what my default is. So I like to have caffeine in the morning and I don't like to eat first. And I've been told many times, and I tell my clients as well, that eating something first is actually going to help you decrease the blood sugar impact of caffeine, and I've tested it in every way that I can to try to get around that, meaning I'm, just like doctoring up this and that and adding coconut milk or adding MCT oil to try to help it, and it helped minimally, but not enough. So for me, this is like premeditating that you're going to be naughty, but I know I'm going to drink caffeine and I don't want to give it up. So what I do is I'm going for a walk in the morning, and it's like a declared thing. I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk, but I do it like within about 30 minutes of finishing my second mug of matcha. Now, when does your blood sugar spike? About 30 minutes after a meal, or an instance where you're ingesting some liquid even. So I've watched it. I know it happens, like whoop, there it goes. But I've also watched what happens. And does it go up? Yeah, it does. It's going to go up somewhat, but you want to see on your screen rolling hills, not mountain peaks, right? It's that what goes up must come down, and that roller coaster just really affects energy and fat storage. So moving emotions is also really important. And if you've got somebody who's really stressed, you want to train them to go for a walk. And sometimes we do this intuitively, right? Like, I'm going to go blow off some steam. Someone who exercises regularly will often use that language, you potentially, right? Because I'm preaching to the choir, and you already do this. Like when you're really stressed, you're really busy, I have to go work out. Or, somebody in your family may say, you need to go work out, right? And it's okay. I mean, you've identified. But you can move emotions through us, whether it's joyful things like we're dancing at weddings. Why are we doing that? Same reason. Grief and anger, though, also. And those are two emotions, probably less so grief, but anger definitely is going to spike blood sugar levels. So it will help you to keep those blood sugar levels stable. So, how do you coach these? Literally, so many ways. These could be dripped out. These tips could be dripped out in a, week by week, in a mini course. Assigning a little piece of homework to each one could be a bonus course that you offer to live to your fitness course or beside it, or it could be an upsell to this is the mini course as an upsell, to a fitness program. Do you want to add, the flat belly solution to this, right? So that sexy name is got to be there. So think about, what is it that solves a problem, and in this, you have to tell them, hey, listen, strength training is great. If that's what you're doing, strength training is great for your visceral belly fat overall. But if you really want to target this area, you also want to add this. And normally it's at this. And, this is a pricing and an offering structure. We won't go into too much detail on doing that, but you want to use the right words, use the right language, use this after they've already said yes to getting the bare skeleton thing. And now you're just saying, hey, but wait, you're all set to go. Do you also want this? It's so important. When female clients come to you for core exercise, want your antenna to be up, it is often not the right tool for the job that they want. If they want to lose belly fat, this is really going to help them more. If they have bloating, and they may also check too many boxes, like, 2 out of 3, that's something else, right? The apple cider vinegar may be a little bit helpful in stimulating gastric juices, but we talk more about what is helpful for gut health and helping break down proteins that we eat inside the Flipping 50 Menopause Fitness Specialist. And because you spend more time than most health practitioners do with their clients, you stand to have the greatest opportunities to help her and to help yourself grow a thriving business. All right, what are you waiting for? The world needs you right now more than ever. You can go to the show notes at fitnessmarketingmastery.com. Help clients get a flat belly in midlife. What are you waiting for? Let's start helping the world to a better fitness level.